message to hold in your hearts today, it's this: never, ever give up.
FBI raid at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence.
Deadly force being authorized.
Nothing worth doing ever, ever, ever came easy.
Donald J. Trump has been indicted.
Jack Smith has again indicted former President Trump.
Over the course of your life, you will find that things are not always fair. You will find that things happen to you that you do not deserve. Like they said, take a look at what happened. But you have to put your head down and fight, fight, fight. Never, ever, ever give up. The more people tell you it's not possible, that it can't be done, the more you should be absolutely determined to prove them wrong.
CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president.
Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world. 250 million Americans are not garbage, and who make a real and lasting difference. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. You must keep pushing forward.
I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America.
So just remember that. Never stop fighting for what you believe in and for the people who care about you. America is beginning a new chapter. Our best days are yet to come. I can promise you that.
Welcome back to the channel, guys, with me, Paul Candlett. Now, as always, let's give thanks to Jesus Christ, our Lord and Saviour, and MKSI for films. Right, folks, get locked into this show today. And what a time it is to be alive today. Wow, on the forefront of technology and politics. What do you believe? Now, when I was at school, we was taught a lot of things to remember that we're not ever going to use in real life. I mean, I remember I was in history and I was being taught about the American West and Custer and all that. What do I care? I live in the UK. Do I live in America? No. Do I care about the American West and what happened? No. Have I had any interest whatsoever in that subject? No. And I said this to the maths teacher. And be careful what you wish for, folks, because I spent the rest of the couple of years sat at a square table on my own in the corridor. And that was what they call teaching students. Yeah, wow. I later went on to have a pretty good life. So, yeah, up yours to the Royal School and the teacher at the time that was trying to teach me about General Custer. Why? Like I'm going to use that in my life. But anyway, so everything we've been taught at school is coming out to be absolute BS. And it's what we're being told now in the media is also BS regarding Epstein, regarding politics itself, regarding the UK politics in general, where we got police forces bussing in Antifa protesters, lefties, and so on and so forth, and putting up migrants in £400 a day hotels down in Canary Wharf. Yes, folks, I shit you not, I'm going to get to that in a minute. It's unbelievable what is going on, not only down in Epping, but down in Canary Wharf as we speak. But before we get to that, folks, there's a story that's been dragging on, and it's probably the biggest hit MAGA and Trump have really taken since taking office. And it's to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, was he killed? Did he kill himself? Who killed him? But more fact to the point, folks, is he actually dead in the first place? Check this out.
Happened with Jeffrey Epstein. She said we might be hearing from Jeffrey Epstein himself. Huh?
And we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you for a fact we're going to hear a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein in the coming year. And you may be even hearing from him directly.
Now then, I've got one question to ask, folks. What the hell is going on? Is he dead? Where is he? What's he doing? And will he come out, just like Megyn Kelly said, to do an interview? Can you imagine the people queuing up to get Jeffrey Epstein, the first person to get Jeffrey Epstein on their platform? It would blow the internet wide open, and it would blow the conspiracy theories wide apart. Everyone has been saying from day one, even Dan Bongino himself and Kash Patel was saying that he didn't kill himself. When they had these big platforms and big voices and big followings, they had millions and millions of followers. So what happened to the Dan Bongino we knew on his show to what is being portrayed now from when he came out with Kash Patel saying that Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself? That was the biggest shock of all. None of us expected it. And then when Donald Trump was questioned about Jeffrey Epstein and he sort of lost his temper, an even bigger shock, trying to tell us that one, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, and two, that there was no client list. Really? How stupid do they think we are? And now Ghislaine Maxwell, the one person that could tell the truth on everything, blow the lid on everyone, drop everyone right in the middle of the crap. And it baffles me how she's still alive. I mean, her dad was killed or murdered, whichever one you want to believe. Jeffrey Epstein was killed or committed suicide, whichever one you want to believe. Virginia Guthrie or Roberts, whichever name you want to use, either committed suicide or killed, whichever one you want to believe. There's three. How much more do you want me to go on? Do you want me to bring Princess Diana into the equation? The woman that was going to blow the lid on the paedophilia ring in the royal family itself? Nancy Andrew, that paid Virginia Guthrie millions, tens of millions of pounds to keep quiet. And also Ghislaine Maxwell herself paid millions and millions of pounds. I think she received a shy of £20 million combined in the two together. And yet Virginia Roberts still ended up dead. So how is Ghislaine Maxwell still alive? How have they not got to her yet? And will she ever make court to actually testify the truth? Check this out.
Already set up the meeting. Look at this. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell in the coming days. I have sources in the DOJ that tell me this is absolutely 100% true and that it is going to happen. Until now, no administration on behalf of the department has inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. That changes now. This is being met with cheers from the internet and a ton of headlines. Twist in Jeffrey Epstein case, Pam Bondi requests meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Now, folks, let's analyse this with a bit of common sense and a bit of intellect. We have three people that have apparently committed suicide under very, very questionable circumstances. Jeffrey Epstein, Maxwell's dad, and Virginia Guthrie, all murdered under very suspicious circumstances and have all been labelled suicide. Bit of a pattern forming here, isn't there, folks? Then we get to Nancy Andrew, who did that amazing BBC, thank you, folks, thank you, who did this interview with the BBC of all people and tried to protest his innocence and completely effed it up with flying colours, just like he would do. I mean, I don't even want to call him a man. This pathetic excuse for a human tried to come on national TV and play the victim. Are you serious? Absolutely blew open the internet. And so it should do, because this man is nothing short of a monster, same as what Jeffrey Epstein. Now, you can only be friends with people like this if you had something in common. And we all know what that is now, what was going on at the Epstein Island. And yet, Princess Diana, the one that was going to blow the lid on the royal family, was killed in Paris, apparently in a car crash. Yeah. Have you seen the pattern that's forming here, folks? Everyone is being killed. Everyone is being murdered. So why is Ghislaine Maxwell still here? Why is she still talking? And she's going to be singing like a bird very, very soon. Are we going to get the truth from Ghislaine herself? Or are we going to get the truth from Jeffrey Epstein? Check this out.
Uncensored. You're her brother. Ghislaine. So let me start by asking you for your reaction to two bits of breaking news today. The first was that the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has directed for her deputy to go and see Ghislaine in prison. What is your response to that, first of all?
Well, you really have to ask yourself, why didn't the DOJ ask to speak to Ghislaine before they indicted her? Why is it only now? And the reason I say that is because in 2019, after Epstein died and up until Ghislaine's own arrest in 2020, she was, to the best of her knowledge and her lawyer's knowledge, not a target of the Jeffrey Epstein negotiated non-prosecution agreement. So her opening position is to say this should never have been brought.
But that's not the same as saying you're innocent.
Wait a minute. Well, the most important point is that if you should never have been prosecuted, you should never have been prosecuted. And I don't know what you have in mind when you say that.
Well, I simply say that would be a legal argument that you would be immune from being prosecuted. That doesn't mean automatically you're an innocent person.
Yes, folks, that was Ghislaine's brother. How are these two people still alive? And why are they still? Who are protecting these two people, Ghislaine and her brother? No one's asking this question. I mean, Ghislaine, I thought would have been, especially when she went to prison, would have been killed off years ago. But she's been in prison 5 years. And now she's coming out publicly questioning not only the evidence, but why her defence wasn't allowed to bring evidence to the table. Personally, I can't see how she can make herself look not guilty when she's guilty of everything. And she's even said she got a client list. So how can you not be? If you've got a client list, then you're obviously procuring something to give to them clients, aren't you? So how can you not be guilty? You're guilty of sin. You just want to try and get a deal, which, again, just like Jeffrey Epstein did back in 2007, got the sweetheart deal. He wasn't even kept in prison. He spent most of the time in his office. So maybe she'll get a deal like that. Who knows? Depending on what sort of evidence that she gives. And can you imagine if she came out to say that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't dead after all? Wow. What would that do to the public? What would it do to the confidence in the truth of what not only the media says, but what the governments around the world say themselves? It would collapse instantly. No one would listen to the TV, no one would listen to the government, and no one would listen to anything mainstream media, period. And so they shouldn't, folks, because for the last 60 to 100 years, whether it's by newspaper, whether it's by TV, or whether it's by our mobile phones, it's all propaganda. It's all BS. Everything that we've been taught at school, right up until the present day, is absolute bollocks. Just so we can think in a certain way and act in a certain way and pay our taxes so we can ship in these immigrants that are being housed in a £400 a day hotels down in Canary Wharf. Check this out, folks. So why are the police protecting these people? Why are the police bussing in Antifa protesters and lunatic leftists? Why are they doing this? Why aren't they protecting the people that should be living in safety? And yes, they're not. They're either being attacked or being verbally abused or sexually abused or even worse still, murdered by these boat people that are being housed in these hotels across the UK. If it's not our women suffering, it's our children that are being filmed and groomed and raped year after year, decade after decade. And no one is doing anything about it but Tommy Robinson. He was the only one who had the balls to raise this awareness in the first place. And yet they put him in prison, solitary confinement, all because he spoke the truth. And it was just like Donald Trump speaking the truth up until this Jeffrey Epstein saga, which really knocked my confidence. I've got to be honest. I'm still Team Trump. I'm still Team MAGA. But this really knocked my confidence. Not only in them being transparent, but in them being truthful. And I just hope that when this Epstein saga is over and the truth is out there, we'll all respond accordingly. And we don't just brush it off and think, oh, well, let's just move on. No, we don't forget of what they've done. We don't forget what they did 5 years ago when they closed the whole country and the whole world as one to a close, to a standstill. All because some lunatic tried to take Donald Trump from office. That was what COVID was about. It was nothing to do with anything else but try and get us under control, under one order. And it didn't happen. And it won't happen. It was going back to the Roman days when the empires collapsed. They collapsed for one reason, because they tried to get too communistic. They take away all our rights. And it's happening again today. History repeats itself like fashion does, over and over and over. It's a cycle. And if you don't start seeing patterns in life, then you're always going to become last. And I'll repeat that again, folks. If you don't see patterns in this life, whatever you do, whether it's construction, whether it's business, whether it's entrepreneurship, whatever, if you can't spot patterns in whatever you're doing, you will always be last. It's that simple. Life's hard, but it's even harder if you're stupid. And that's what this country is becoming. A cesspool of stupidness, of craziness. It's unbelievable. And I just ask one question. Why? Why are they trying to take our cultures away from us? Why are they trying to destroy our heritage? Why are they putting us people, normal people, in danger and bussing in people like Antifa protesters and lunatic lefties? Bussing them in, the police. Why? What? It just defies any form of common sense whatsoever. And yet the people who do speak common sense are punished, are targeted by the government. It's not only frustrating, folks, but it's even more frustrating when people don't do anything and then start blaming the governments or politicians when you know all they're out to do is make money for themselves. That is it. And that's why Donald Trump was hated so much, because he wasn't a politician. He wasn't a man or a general from the army. He was a businessman that came in and took charge of the country like he should have done back in 2020 when it was taken away from him. And it's been proven now that not only Obama was married to a man, check this out.
What perhaps will be litigated in court soon. Let's go.
And certainly those of us that she named, John Brennan and Jim Comey and I, are part of the group that were tasked by President Obama to put together all the reporting we had on the Russian interference, and which we did. President Obama directly and personally confronted Putin about the Russian interference in September and did not accept at face value Putin's protestations. John Brennan directly did the same thing with his counterpart. On October 7th of 16, we put out a statement. I say we, Jay Johnson, then Secretary of Homeland Security, and I put out a statement, a pretty forthright one, about warning of the Russian interference in our election. This was a month before the election, which unfortunately got drowned out by the Access Hollywood tape revelation. On December 29th, the administration, issued...
And everything we've been taught in the past 20 years, all coming from America, which influences the whole of the world, believe it or not. Obama was the ringleader of everything. Not Russia, not China, not Israel, not Iran, not Iraq, but America themselves were the problem, their own government. And it's all being leaked, or it's all being exposed. That's the word I was looking for. And who's going to believe it? Just like the Matrix. Is it the blue pill or is it the red pill? It's that simple. So there you have it, folks. Everything we've been taught in the world is BS. Everything we've been taught by the media is BS. And I'll still stand by the truth. And that's the Holy Bible. Christianity, the one religion that's being mocked globally, constantly. Even back to biblical days, when Jesus professed to be the Son of God. And yet they all laughed at him. And when he told them what was going to happen, they laughed at him. When he told them who he was, they laughed at him. Not only laughed at him, but tortured him. The hatred that was thrown at this man, and he's still today thrown at this man. When this man did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing, didn't hurt anyone, didn't upset anybody, only spoke the truth. And for that he was crucified. And I'm glad he was, in a way, so I can go to heaven. I can follow him. I can be a child of Christ. Okay, that doesn't make me perfect. I don't profess to be. But I profess to be a Christian. I'm proud to be a Christian. And I'm proud to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And I also hope, folks, you guys at home follow the same way. Because if we don't have Christ in our life, then we have nothing. It's that simple. And on that bombshell, folks, I'm Paul Candleton. This is True TV, and we still are the media.